welcome to episode number 2 of Smash the Bug podcast. Thank you for listening, and I am excited to bring on our guest today. His name is Joris, is the CTO at ATI4 Group, based out of France. He is a developer who's worked with Magento and fought through a lot of difficult problems, and we're going to talk about one of those specific challenges he's had to face today. And I hope you take inspiration and even challenge as he shares how he has dealt with this problem, and I am confident you will be able to learn from that as well. So without further ado, let's bring on Joris and let's chat and hear about what he does at ATI4 Group. Welcome, Joris.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes, so it's exciting to have you on. Give me just a basic rundown, like just a few seconds, about what do you do on a daily basis? What is your responsibilities there at ATI4 Group?
So my responsibility at ATI4 Group, so we have a team, the whole company is 13 persons. So
okay.
That's a rather small agency, and we're, me included, 8 developers.
Excellent. Okay.
So 8 developers that do Magento on a daily basis.
Excellent.
So my role, what I do as work is I work for clients because I can be, so I still work for clients, and I also help the other developers to debug, help them when they're stuck on a ticket or when they're stuck on one particular bug. And I try to keep up to date as most as I can with Magento, because the clients, they ask me for new features, when will be things corrected or fixed in Magento. So that's my stuff on a daily basis.
Excellent. So that means I'm talking to the smartest person in the room then. That's awesome. I like doing that. It'll make you smarter then too. So that, hopefully I can siphon some of that smarts off you here today. That's awesome. So when you say you deal with the challenges and the difficulties, that all the other developers bring to you, that makes me think that you've dealt with some pretty difficult situations, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think every developer has in their lifetime as a developer.
Right.
I think everybody can just share their bug about that one bug that when you were asleep and at 2 a.m. in the morning you realize this is how to fix it. You just open your laptop, you try, and okay, no, it's not that. You just go to sleep
yes.
again.
Yes. Well,
I think everybody has that one bug.
Yeah, the problem for me is actually then I get that inspiration, and then the problem is I cannot fall asleep, and I'm it's 3 hours later, and I'm just do I take sleeping pills or something? I got to get back to sleep. This is going to be a really lousy day now.
No, exactly. That's and sometimes or just grab your phone and take some notes because you're just too afraid to.
Yeah, that's a good solution
to
too. Yes, exactly. Yes, I get it. All right, so so we had our survey, and you were kindly shared your story in that. Was it last year? I think middle of last year sometime, about a major challenge, maybe that once in a lifetime experience for you, and how you had to deal with custom options in Magento. And I know for me personally, custom options in Magento, maybe it's not as bad as some other areas. Indexing probably would be my worst area, but custom options are kind of getting up to the top there. There's just a lot of weird architecture around that, and when they're loaded and how they're loaded versus quotes versus products, and there's a lot of, I don't think it was designed the best. So maybe walk me through kind of what was this challenge that you faced there?
The challenge was pretty, it was creeping on really slowly to me, because when I first opened Magento and I had a customer, the problem was they're selling little toys for kids.
Okay.
And what they wanted to do is they personalize those products. So, for example, if you want to give the gift to somebody named Joseph, for example, you can go on the website, fill in the name, and the name will automatically appear on the thumbnail of the image and on the gallery.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's really nice. Yeah.
And it will appear in the good location.
Okay.
But you can also choose which color and which font you want to use for that name.
Nice.
So that's all done real time. So in the beginning, I was looking through the Magento documentation, and there I saw that you can just throw in some new custom options with an XML file. I was like, yes, this will be so. This was so
Do
easy.
it. Do it. Yeah, come on.
But now I just learned about when you think it will be too easy, it never is. Because the problem was that they needed an interface in the admin to have the image, to put the exact location of that name on the image.
Of course.
And you have names with 5 letters, you have names with 10 letters. So you have to.
And in Dutch, you have names in 20 letters.
Yeah, exactly. Compose names with 2 names. And so it was a bit of a challenge, because I thought, like, okay, I will just use that XML file, make a new custom option that is called embroidery and sticker, and that will be it. And that's when I discovered that the whole that you can do that for custom options that just replicate the other ones, like a text field or just an input field, like you can upload an image or a file.
Yes.
But if you wanted to implement something like I had to do, like where the admin can choose which colors will be available, because they had for every product, there will be 3 colors and 3 fonts families. But they had like they had like 20 colors and 20 font families. And in the admin, they could choose like, okay, for this product, especially, you can select these 3 colors and these 3 font sizes.
Oh, nice. Nice. This is sounding complex.
So this was really getting complexer. And for me, that was the first time that I really got into all the modifiers in Magento. Because when you add an attribute to a category, you just go to the category XML file, to that uiComponents file, and just add your field in it, and it's done. But when you go onto the product page in the admin, it's not that easy. No. When you open that uiComponents file, and you just see like 1 or 2 XML tags, you're like, where does all the other things come from? And that's when you get digging into Magento, and you just discover the whole modifier concept.
Yes.
About having arrays and arrays and arrays and arrays.
Yes. Yeah, that would have been really challenging in trying to figure out how to do this. And I think, so what were some of the tools that you found especially helpful in being able to dissect and get in and figure out, where to even start approaching some of these challenges?
Yeah, so the tools that I used mainly on the admin side, then, that were Xdebug, because when dealing with those big of arrays, it's just not as easy. It's like having the XML of the checkout from Magento.
Yes.
But everything is just a PHP array.
Yes.
So a lot of bugs came just from missing one step or missing one level. So be able to like stop your code at a certain point, that was just so wonderful.
Xdebug,
I went Xdebug. So when I was like junior coder, I don't like to use those terms, but when I was like beginning, everybody knows it. Everybody used var_dump just to print out something on the screen.
Right, that was me too. That was me. I did it.
Yeah. And so that's not just possible when dealing with those big of an arrays and large objects. I think everybody that listens to this podcast already tried to var_dump a product object on Magento and just get a white page.
You do that. and I mean, to be frank, it works, right? It does work, but boy, it's it's just difficult to really get anywhere quickly. And I remember starting out. It was quite a few years ago. That's what I used: var_dump and print_r and echo. And oh boy, I used echo so many times, and it works. Let me ask you this: what are some of your favorite parts of Xdebug? What are some of your favorite features or tricks for using Xdebug? I assume in PHP Storm, right? Is that what you're using?
Yeah, I use Xdebug and PHP Storm. I'm not that of an experienced Xdebug user. I mostly use the features that PHP Storm gives me. Put some breakpoints. And what I really like in Magento is when you can step down functions. That is because then it gets interesting. Like seeing, because with all the generated classes, like the interceptors and everything that's between all those calls, that's That's really
Yes.
good. And sometimes you discover, okay, this plugin is triggering. Why is it? And you just step down the function calls.
Yes.
So that's something that I use a lot.
Okay. Well, that's really good. That's good. And I think that's a perfect segue to talk about some of your overall methods for approaching challenges or problems. So we talked about that one challenge that you had in dealing with custom options and building out the UI components for that, which is really helpful. But what would you say are some your more favorite general ways to approach the challenges that another developer or a colleague brings to you, and you're trying to figure out, okay, where do I start? And what is the first place that you usually start?
When I have a bug or when there's a challenge.
Let's say when there's a bug or a ticket, somebody brings you a ticket and says, hey, Joris, I'm not able to get this problem solved. What can you do to help me out here? And so what is some of the first things you do there?
The first things I do, and that's something that I learned over the years that every developer should do, is check your folder names, check your class names, check every little thing you could have just get wrong. How many times did I have a bug because I spelled controller with a minor C or something like that, or just I call it my class name something, and then I said okay, no, this is not a class name. I changed the class name, but I didn't change the file name. So things like that are the first things to check out. That's what I say to developers that I teach or that I work with. It's okay, just check those little things before coming to.
I tell you what, there has been a number of times, probably actually more than just a number of times, where I feel like a real pro. I'm in there, I'm troubleshooting a ticket, I've pulled down the production database, I'm stepping through it line by line, and I get to the end and I find that it was something stupid, simple, like exactly what you're talking about, a class name or store configuration that I can change, and it totally solves the problem, right? And I feel like an absolute idiot, but if I would have started at the simple solution, exactly like what you're saying there, just to double check, make sure those little things are not causing problems in other places, that would have saved me and the client a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's because sometimes it's just stupid things, and it's even I was in a position once where I had somebody, let's say above me, but my lead developer. And when you as a developer go to your lead developer and say I'm really stuck on this ticket for a half a day, and he just says, that spelling isn't correct. you just sink into the ground. You're okay, get back to again.
Which that sounds that sounds like the rubber duck right there, because you go to this other person, even if they're more higher than you in seniority, I put that in quotes, or less than you in seniority, again in quotes, just more or less experience, right? Just going and talking to somebody, sharing your problem. That happened to me the other day while talking to a client, and it was kind of embarrassing, honestly. It was I just solved this problem as I'm talking through with you, so I might need to come back to you at a later date just to let you know that this is solved.
Yeah, it's something that I had to explain to my wife, rubber ducking,
yes.
what it exactly meant.
Yeah.
Because she isn't a developer, so she did some PHP in school, and when she says she's a developer, she just yells I know PHP and my admin. I'm okay, that's not developing. That's just an interface to look at a database. But
it's a start. It's a start. It's a good start.
It's a start. But when I get home, and when I'm really stuck on a bug for a few days, we just begin chatting about it, and it's just cool to have somebody to chat to, because even when because the whole principle of rubber ducking is talking to a rubber duck, to an object, and just explaining yourself why you are doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
But what is better with having, for me, example, my wife, is that she knows nothing about programming, and so she will have a different view on the problem that I'm solving. So I'm just breaking the problem down in logical steps. And sometimes she's why would you do that? And that also helped me in my career. That's something that helped me a lot. Because when we talk, breaking it down in little steps and being able to explain your problem to somebody that is not a developer. That's can sometimes just
I like that. Yes.
help it. Because
Absolutely.
when you talk between developers, like if for example, if you come to me for a bug, I will be like, okay, did you check this? And like directly go into really, really technical
Yes.
stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and we could be missing the whole big picture as it is. And
Exactly.
wow, that's really good. That's I call it tunnel vision as far as what I the way I the terminology I use. But I that's totally correct. Is like these ideas are great ways to break out of that tunnel vision. Be able to explain it, because if you can explain it, you probably have a pretty decent handle on it as far as the big picture, and which means you're in a position to solve the problem if it's a really, really difficult problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's not I always like say that the most. It's not because you have the most knowledge, but because if you can explain it normally, there wouldn't be a problem to solve it.
Yes.
And then the next thing that I also say to developers is look at Magento, look at how they wrote their code, because we're not rocket scientists, so everything has to be done some sort of a way. Like my problem with custom options, Magento has custom options.
Yes.
So you can just go look, because it's open source and open, you can just go and look how they did theirs.
Yep, absolutely.
And break that down, and just not let's say copy it to yours, but just try to understand how they did it and take that to yours. To your development.
That's great. That's great. I want to ask another question. What are you doing to improve your skills, like get better, to become more successful in your career as far as developer, and specifically as an expert really at solving problems? I mean, that's what I think a lot of us developers are in one way or another, but that's pretty much what we do, what we are. What are you doing to improve and to get better, and specifically looking at things that we all can learn from, the developer community at large, so all of us who are going to be listening to this podcast?
So what I do to get better is really to try and teach people. You never. I always say to people, it's never too late or never too early to begin and teach people. Even if you know like just a little bit about Magento, try to teach your colleague about that. Like I have one of my developers. He is with me since the beginning. He was my first employee, and today he works on a big client, and he really works on everything that is customer faced. And sometimes he just comes to me with like problems about because they did a whole setup with where the customer doesn't log into Magento with an external service. And so there are API calls all over the place, and sometimes he just comes to me and that's what I see. Like, okay, I have way more experience than him, but he's teaching me about. He is explaining his bug, and he's teaching me how to do that. So just don't be afraid and go talk to people and just show them what you do. And if you can explain them, that's how you get experience.
Excellent.
And then another thing is look at code. It's just following Magento. It's going through GitHub. If you have a bug, don't try to do the short way and just try to understand why it is bugging.
Yes.
And if you can contribute, that would be
absolutely, yeah. That's great. I like that. And when you mentioned teaching other people, it also reminded me of the flip side of that, where I need to be open to be taught from everybody as well, right? Because that's like you mentioned, you're more the senior developer at ATI4 Group, and I think it can be easy, or I think nothing. It is easy to get into the thing of, okay, well, I'm the senior developer, right? And I kind of know everything, but in reality is no. There is no way I know everything, and I likewise am really inspired when other people, share the cool things that they're coming across and figuring out, because that's how we all learn and how we all grow. But it also does take that element of being humble, listening to feedback and comments, and and because that's how all of us improve is through that. So not only on the teaching side, but also on the listening side as well.
It's that, and also if you find a bug and you manage to fix it or to solve it, just talk about it, because there will be someone else having that same thing, same bug, and and when you talk to them, they will like say, "Oh yeah, it's true. I heard that the other day." So, and like I said, as a senior developer, if you want to still grow, you have to be open and to be humble and say, I can learn from people that are way less experienced than me.
Absolutely.
Even somebody with like less than a year experience, you can always learn, and that's something that helps you grow as a developer. Just looking at how people do and work.
Yes.
Even for us, maybe that are a bit more experienced, seeing them work too. It's
That's awesome. Absolutely. And I have to ask you the final question here is, how many monitors do you use at your workstation?
3. And
3.
Every
Awesome.
developer every developer at my company has 3 monitors.
Okay. Well, hey, that's a perk. That is a nice perk of working for ATI4 Group, right? If you get 3 monitors, I assume that's including the laptop there. That's
exactly.
That's
so
productivity there. Talk about that's good.
Because the laptop screen isn't the screen that we use a lot.
Right.
And then we have always 2 monitors that are hanging on a support.
Okay.
And then the laptop is on a little stand.
Okay.
So, and that's how we do things.
Nice.
Mostly when I develop, I have like my PHP Storm on a big screen, like a 24. We have 2 24-inch screens, so 24-inch screen. I have my PHP Storm, my website on the other one, so Chrome or Mozilla or whatever you would like, and then my communication tools like emailing and Teams. They're on my laptop screen.
Sweet. That is awesome.
So
I love
in one view, I can see. I can see everything. So that's really cool, and you don't have to switch screens between takes. So
sweet.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then if you get into debugging on Chrome, I just pop Chrome on one and the DevTools on the other one.
That's great.
Because even if I do a lot of backend developing, Chrome also has a lot of features for front-end debugging.
It does, and that's a whole other subject for another time. But that's really cool. Joris, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience and advice. Thank you for that. And I guess we didn't have an opportunity to talk about your multilingual capabilities, but I guess we could leave that as well for another time to converse about. Although you'd have me completely not knowing what you're saying. You could say, I guess, whatever you wanted to say at that point, because I don't know any Dutch or French, so what can I say at that point?
If you want to come to France, it would be no problem. If you want to come to France, you're more than welcome.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was good, my friend, having you on. And thank you for sharing your knowledge. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, that was a really awesome time to get together with Joris and hear what he had to say about debugging and facing these challenges. And I can definitely relate to facing this ticket or this project that needs to be built with custom options, customizing them to the almost the nth degree, and then having to obviously manipulate a ton of UI components in order to make it work. We heard his advice for how to interact with others, how to become a better developer as well. And so I hope that you found this all very helpful on our second episode of Smash the Bug. Take the time to subscribe on our channel on YouTube so you don't miss further episodes of Smash the Bug, as well as we're on all the major podcast providers as well. So thank you for joining, and hope you have a wonderful day, and we are looking forward to digging into our next episode here shortly.